shows where I can't see you all, but I can see every single one of your faces and eyes. Except for you back there. The light gets a bit too much. But that's really interesting. When I took my glasses off, I could, well, I was about to say I could see less, but obviously I can see less. But for some reason, like, it's darker without them, which would seem to be a physical impossibility, knowing what I know about optics. But if you know more than I do, let me know to what the heck's going on. So thank you for coming to NerdCon Stories. It's really nice to see all of you, and it's really nice that you, oh, there I am. It's really nice that you took this risk, because I'll be totally honest with you, I don't know what this is. So you definitely don't. It's like, I was like, they're gonna do a thing, and you're like, okay! See you there! It's a nice thing for you to have done, because it's trusting. I will try not to betray that trust. I spend a lot of time on internet platforms, and I think mostly about that, but I also really like this sort of real-world platform thing. And in the same way, when I see, like, oftentimes, like, I'll see people in internet worlds of, like, we are the people who produce this platform that people do things with and on. You get folks who think that they should be the ones defining how people use their platform, because it's theirs, and like they made the thing. But I've seen that that is a dumb idea. And that in fact what you should do is be like, I made this! So that is the reason why I don't know what NerdCon is yet, because I made this. I feel like you get cool people in a place, and you let them, and so I'm watching very carefully from a secret room to see what you do and what you enjoy and what works and what doesn't, and because I want, you know, to make a better one of these next year, and possibly. I'm so glad that you already, so are you going to come next year? You haven't seen anything. Okay, well, I'll hold you to that. I'll expect all of you back. I got distracted. So I have some good news. In 2003, during the siege of Baghdad, I went in a different direction than you thought. There was a lot of looting that went on, and obviously, like, Baghdad is a very good place for history, for artifacts of a cultural nature. And some of that stuff was lost, and that's sad and a bummer. That's not the good news. In the last, 5 or 6 years, the museums there have been doing this really interesting thing where they just they say, okay, we know some of you guys have some stuff. It's cool. Just bring it back and we'll buy it from you. Don't take it onto the black market and try to get like super top dollar for it because you might get killed. And also, we won't have it anymore. So the right thing to do is to come on by and we'll give you some money for the thing. And I don't know how you got it. I don't care if it was your brother's uncle's cousin. Like, whatever, it's fine. Just bring it by. We won't ask any questions. Which I think is really cool. And people come by and they like show up with their thing. And they're like, yeah. And then they haggle and they sort of argue about how much it's worth. And then at the end they give them like $200 or something. And you get this priceless cultural artifact back. And then I have $200 and I can get like a real nice dinner with my wife. And I think that this is a good policy, and it shows trust and fortitude. And a really interesting thing happened a few years ago that we just found out about. Somebody walked into a museum in Baghdad and they were like, hey, and the people who like do the arguing about how much it's worth start arguing with him. And then like the historian who was overseeing it was like looking around and he was like, wait, stop. How much does he want? And then the guy's like, he said he wants $800, and he was like, get it, here's. So they take this thing. They're not quite sure what it is, but you know it's a big deal. It's a piece of clay with some letters pressed into it, like Sumerian letters. And they take it back, translate it, and it is not something that used to be in the museum. It is not something that used to be in any museum. It is 20 lines from the Epic of Gilgamesh that we just didn't have before. And they're like, wait, what? What is this? Whose is this? Wait a second. Where did this come from? And they're like, we have a policy, we don't ask. Because like it wasn't from looting, because nobody had it before. So they have these 20 new lines of the Epic of Gilgamesh. They translated it. It tells the story of Gilgamesh and his friend Enkidu going into the forest, and they kill a guy, and there's monkeys. It's great. You know, and now like I feel like I need to reread the Epic of Gilgamesh because there's a whole new scene. We should do some fanfic. So this is great news. And I like this because it doesn't just make me think about the story of the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is sort of the first story we have record of, sort of, it is, and the window that provides for us into the lives of and the worldviews of like our cultural and genetic ancestors and I also like it because there's also the story of like. Every day of this piece of clay's past 3,000 years. Like, was it a bookend? Was it a doorstop? Was it where did they cook pizza on it? Like, where has it been? And then I also think of like the story of the people who like thought that this story was so valuable and so wonderful and important to them and their culture that they pressed it into a bunch of pieces of clay. Like this was not an easy or inexpensive process, and just like lovingly made these tiny little letters in the clay and stored it so that we could have it 3,000 years later. And there were people did that. Like there was a human being who was making those marks. When we run another event, the team that does this. Thank you to the team that does this, by the way. So we do this other event in California around online video called VidCon, and we wanted to do another thing, and like basically I was like, okay, so I love this one thing, online video, and I do that. What if I gotta do another event, which I really want to do, what is the thing that we should talk about? This is the part that I wrote stuff down for. So I wanted to find something that provides way more value in culture than we give it credit for. Don't get me wrong, I do that for a living. I'm not gonna badmouth it. But I feel like, you know, now VidCon's really big and I feel like it's getting like a lot of love and support. What's the thing that provides all that value and is extremely important to the fabric of society, but we don't give it all that credit? And the idea of the story jumped out at me. And knowing some authors and knowing that, like, you know, they're very much like, I got a day job, I put words on pieces of paper, and it's sort of like, you know, I feel like they're underappreciated. I want to love them more. I want to like revel in that thing more because like thanks. Because whether it's like a puppet show or a song or a poem or you know the story of a god king Gilgamesh or the story of a piece of clay over the last 3,000 years, like I just want to get into that. I just want to appreciate it and love it for a weekend And so that's the thing that I decided that we would do. And I wrote here a thing that I wanted to say because I think that stories and each other are the most valuable things that we have. And now I would like to bring out on the stage our hosts for this first bit of NerdCon Stories, Kate Jones and Desiree Birch.